Recently, Wilford Nappy Pulawa celebrated his 90th birthday. Mr. Pulawa, who has a police record going back 20 years, 1965 to 1985, has previously been charged with murder as well as armed robbery and kidnapping. But he was never jailed until he was convicted of income tax evasion in 1974. Martin Scorsese is returning to the crime genre with a long-gestating project about Hawaii's only known mob boss, Wilford Nappy Pulawa, and his script, 95% complete, may finally bring the story of 1970s underworld power to the screen in a Goodfellas-style blaze of violence and local color. I've heard from some unnamed sources that Wilford Nappy Pulawa was responsible for the murder of up to 25 people. Those same people have also said, how do you think the families and relatives of victims feel about glorifying, quote unquote, someone like him? Some people consider him an evil monster. He didn't do time for any of those murders. Other sources have indicated that they can hardly wait to see that movie. They want to know about what happened in the criminal world during that period. Some people have said that he was not the only mob boss in Hawaii during that time. Similar to the crimes committed by the mafia, a lot of victims and families were affected. Nevertheless, The Godfather, starring Marlon Brando and Al Pacino, is one of the most popular and influential films ever made, earning between $250 million and $291 million at the box office and becoming the highest-grossing film of 1972. Pulawa, a 41-year-old former boxer turned racketeer, became Hawaii's first and only documented mob boss in the 1970s, operating out of Honolulu with ties to the Chicago outfit and Las Vegas casinos. His empire included extortion, gambling, and drug trafficking. Unlike his mainland counterparts, Pulawa's operations were deeply rooted in Hawaii's tourism and real estate booms of the era. According to FBI case files, his network controlled off-track betting parlors and even infiltrated local unions, leveraging Hawaii's geographic isolation to avoid federal scrutiny for years. In the latest of a series of crackdowns on organized crime in Hawaii, Wilford Nappy Pulawa, reputed to be one of Hawaii's top organized crime leaders, was to go on trial June 17, 1985 in state court in an 11-year-old murder case. Mr. Pulawa was 49 years old at the time, pleaded not guilty April 1 to an indictment accusing him of ordering the murder of Alexander Chung Kong, 39, in 1974. Also indicted in the slaying was Royal Kamahoahoa, 44, who also pleaded not guilty when he appeared in court with Mr. Pulawa April 1st. Mr. Kamahoahoa previously said he was a paid killer for organized crime in Hawaii. Both men were being held under $1 million bail. Neither would comment on the indictment. He served 10 years at various mainland prisons before being released late in 1984 on the condition he stay away from known criminals. Mr. Pulawa returned to Hawaii where he got a job as a construction elevator operator. Mr. Pulawa's alleged accomplice in the 1974 murder, Mr. Kamahoahoa, was convicted of bank robbery in 1976 and got a 5-year sentence which he served at McNeil Island Penitentiary in the state of Washington. Although the authorities refused to comment on the grand jury's murder indictment against Mr. Pulawa and Mr. Kamahoahoa, it is believed to have resulted from information given them by a former lieutenant to Mr. Pulawa, Henry Hui, who had said he inherited Mr. Pulawa's criminal organization after Mr. Pulawa went to prison. Mr. Hui, who became a protected federal witness, has testified against his former associates here, hoping to get a reduced sentence after pleading guilty to various murder and labor racketeering charges. He was named in the indictment as a co-conspirator in the 1974 murder of Kong, but was never indicted. According to the indictment, Mr. Hui and Mr. Kamahoahoa carried out the killing by shooting Mr. Kong several times in the head at a golf course on the island of Oahu. The company, also known as the Hawaiian Syndicate, was a powerful organized crime syndicate based in Hawaii that dominated the island's criminal underworld from the late 1960s to the mid-1990s. Under his leadership, the company, 2 lieutenants, Henry Hui and Ronald Ching. Henry Hui ran the revenue-generating operations like illegal gambling, lotteries, card games, and prostitution in resort hotels. Ronald Ching was responsible for coordinating the violence to maintain the dominance in the underworld. This could include killing rival gang members, witnesses, and other labor leaders. Under these men were the captains and their crews. Under Pulawa's leadership, the company extended a firm hold over the criminal rackets on the island, resorting to extreme violence when necessary. Here the ethnic lines did not blur. One crew would be Korean, Japanese, and so on. In other words, various ethnic groups. Pre-company. Before the company, Hawaii's organized crime was fragmented among ethnic gangs, Chinese triads, Japanese yakuza, Korean gangpei, and Samoan outfits, each controlling different vice districts, which is pretty much how it is today. In 1962, Korean George Chung formed a coalition that temporarily unified rival gangs. The smaller ethnic gangs all vied for control of organized crime, leading to disorganized clashes. Over time, Chung was able to create an environment where every gang could do business. In 1967, Chung was shot to death in a Honolulu gambling den. His assassination in 1967 created a power vacuum. A Samoan mob led by Alema Leota briefly took control, but in 1969, Wilford Nappy Pulawa, a native Hawaiian, and Leotas, lieutenant, founded the company by recruiting primarily from native Hawaiian, Polynesian, and other local criminal communities. Pulawa, described by law enforcement as Hawaii's first and only mob boss, built a statewide criminal empire rivaling mainland figures like Lucky Luciano and Al Capone. The organization became involved primarily in illegal gambling, prostitution in the island's resort hotels, racketeering of local labor unions, extortion of local legal and illegal businesses, and in the wide-scale illegal trade in Chinese white heroin. Dues were collected by upper management and distributed to all members as a dividend payment. A pool was set up to provide legal fees should any one of the members become arrested. With the tourism boom, they infiltrated the construction industry and labor unions. Drug trafficking with heroin and marijuana. Under Pulawa, the organization extorted tribute from anyone wanting to do business in Hawaii, such as mainland mafia members, bookmakers, and gambling operators. The company was able to exert some of its criminal control into Hawaiian communities on the mainland, mainly in Nevada and California. The syndicate made connections with figures in the American mafia, but in some cases also had a rival with some of them. Rumor has it that once, when two Chicago mobsters active in Las Vegas were sent to Hawaii to teach a local Hawaiian gang leader a lesson for muscling in on illegal gambling rackets in Nevada. The company killed the two mob thugs and returned their chopped up bodies to the mainland in the back of a trunk with a note attached, "Delicious, send more." On October 23, 1970, State Senator Larry N. Kuriyama, 49, the father of 5, was gunned down as he returned to his Aiea Heights home after Pacific Palisades political rally. He had been elected to the House of Representatives in 1959, won a Senate seat in 1966, and was re-elected in 1968. He had been running unopposed for his third term. Kuriyama was the first chairman of the House Higher Education Committee in 1959 and was described as a powerful figure in the development of University of Hawaii during the university's rapid growth in the 1960s. He criticized Governor John A. Burns for vetoing a bill calling for higher education for out-of-state students. Senator led the committee that led to the first shakeup of the state's penal system. Kuriyama was shot 5 times at close range, with 1 bullet striking his heart. He died minutes later at Leeward Community Hospital. Police determined that Kuriyama's murderer had been a hired professional. In 1975, 2 men were tried separately for the murder and both were acquitted. 14 years later, underworld figure Ronald K. Ching confessed to Kuriyama's murder as well as that of then Honolulu prosecutor Charles Marsden's son, Charles III, in 1975, Arthur Baker in 1978, and Robert Fukumoto in 1980. After finishing a term in federal prison on the mainland for narcotics violations, Ching was transferred to Halawa Prison, where he was serving a life term with the possibility of parole for the murders. Ronald Ching, the notorious Honolulu hitman convicted in 1985 of multiple murders, died in his cell at Halawa Correctional Facility in Hawaii on the morning of September 15, 2005, at the age of 56. Pulawa's reign ended in 1973 when he started to heavily invest criminal money in the real estate business. When law enforcement got wind of Pulawa's plans to buy several resort facilities in California, they were able to arrest him on tax evasion. He was jailed in 1975 and was sentenced to serve 24 years in federal prison, much of which he served at McNeil Island in the state of Washington. He was paroled in 1984 and returned to the island to become involved in labor issues. Meanwhile, other heavyweights within the company had started to fight over control of the vast criminal organization which had inserted itself in many aspects of the Hawaiian life, such as the entertainment field, the fishing industry, and organized labor, as well as Hawaiian cultural and rights groups. My take of this whole thing is, whether or not he killed 25 people, as some people have told me, it's really hard to say, because if there were witnesses to his murders, they're probably dead, they're not here, or they passed away a long time ago. And if they are here, they're probably too afraid to step up and testify against him. The other thing is, as far as the movie itself, I don't think it'll glorify him. I think hopefully not. Hopefully it just brings a real perspective of what Hawaii's crime was like during that period. Because I personally lived during that period, and 60s and 70s and 80s. And those are my younger years, but I remember all of those events that occurred, and all of these things. I've heard some good comments. I should point that out. Some people have said he was a good man, that he was very, I should say, nice to them, and etc. And so, I mean, you got two sides to the story. Some people saying that, oh, he was a nice guy, and then you got others saying that, yeah, he killed those people. What about the victims? What about the families, etc., etc. Anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing the movie, but I just hope it doesn't really glorify him. But I just hope it just brings a kind of a historical perspective of what was going on during that period. So anyway, thank you for watching. Mahalo and a hui ho.